It's not what you say, it's what you look like. An examination into the experiences of African American women leaders. For my thesis presentation, I will be covering a number of sections. They will include introduction, methods, results and analysis, discussion, and the conclusion. Smile. Sit up straight. Make sure you maintain a calm and upbeat tone. Be firm but not overly aggressive. Smile. Speak to everyone, but don't be overly social. Check your tone. Smile. Adjust your body language. Be nice, but not too nice. Smile. This mantra of internal instruction sits at the forefront of daily thought processes for African American or Black women within the workplace. Because of American stereotypes, Black women are often categorized as aggressive or confrontational when interacting with non-Black counterparts. As a result, this sapphire stereotype or angry Black woman stigma often perpetuates how people see African American women, whether that's in the workplace or in day-to-day interaction. Introduction. This study primarily examines the experiences of African American women leaders in the workplace, specifically within the communications or strategic communications field. The goal was to determine if Black women leaders alter their behaviors in their roles to avoid being stigmatized as angry or aggressive, or to avoid perceptions drawn by others through pejorative stereotypes. These perceptions are routinely circulated through the news, media, literature, and entertainment, and often depict African American women to be angry, bitter, loud, unmannerly, and often not approachable. These characterizations can be seen often, like through Love and Hip Hop, a popular television show on VH1, or through characters like Tyler Perry's Medea, an angry older Black woman who is known for her belligerence and criminal behavior. It was found by researchers that both nationally and internationally, people share this belief about African American women to be angry or aggressive. So in considering those perceptions for women in leadership roles, they would still exist. And because of this, African American women are more disproportionately underrepresented in both presence and leadership roles than other races and ethnicities. Researchers have also found that Black women are more prone to experiencing microaggressions, demeaning remarks, and daily bias from their counterparts in the workplace. To combat those perceptions or actions, African American women leaders alter their body language, behaviors, and speech in order to appear less threatening in the workplace. Conceptual framework. Before looking into the experiences of African American women, it was important to consider other research that had been already done on the topic. The first was addressing the stereotypes. Scholars have previously outlined 3 defining stereotypes of African American women that have been used to perpetuate this negative imagery: the Mammy stereotype, the Jezebel, and the Sapphire, which closely correlates to what we'll be discussing. The last stereotype, and the most relevant to this study, is that of the Sapphire, or the angry Black woman stereotype. This character, the Sapphire, emerged out of the Amos and Andy radio show in the 1940s and has been popularized ever since. It depicts an overly aggressive, domineering, angry, and ill-tempered Black woman known to chastise her husband and be very overly aggressive. According to Ashley 2014, this character served as the precursor to what is now known as the angry Black woman stereotype and has been influential to the perception of continued pejorative stereotypes of African American women. In debunking the stigma, it is important to note that no research findings have ever been established that suggest that African Americans experience anger more than any other race. In fact, in 2009, Wally Jean did a study to investigate the experience and expression of anger among African American women, using the State Trait Anger Expression Inventory 2, or STAXI scale. The findings proposed that, contrary to popular belief, African American women are actually more prone to controlling outward expressions of anger and are less likely to be loud, belligerent, or irate. Establishing reality. Research has indicated that women are underrepresented within the workplace. Of that percentage, even fewer African American women are represented. As Black women neither fit the characteristics of a prototypical white male leader, nor the idyllic gender role or race, they face what's called double jeopardy, meaning that they're a minority both as women and for being African American. As a result, Black women are typically subjected to both racism and sexism within the workplace. My study considers these 3 research questions, all of them referring to if African American women modify their personality traits or behaviors. Methods. This study included a sample of 10 women, 5 who identified as African American or Black, and 5 who identified as Caucasian or white. All of the women work within strategic communications or communications and work for the federal government. In order to establish a strong baseline for future research, qualitative interviews were conducted to try to learn the most about the communication leaders' experiences. Each contributor was asked 14 questions regarding individual work experiences, communication styles, and workplace interactions. All of the interviews were recorded, and the consolidated data from the interview processes were analyzed through a deductive approach. Results and analysis. Several themes developed from the structured interview process. In all of the interviews, all of the African American women shared instances of having modified their communication styles in order to be perceived differently. It is important to note that while Black and white participants were used, the white participants were primarily used as a base of comparison for the African American experiences. While all of the participants shared experiences of sexism, only the Black participants shared experiences of sexism and racism in the workplace. The African American participants highlighted several instances of overt racism, consistent microaggressions, and reoccurring demoralizing interactions in response to just their presence. All of the African American participants also expressed explicit and implicit situations where they were actively discriminated against and had comments made directly to them based on stereotypes of African American women or individuals. All of the African American participants indicated that they had either made physical or behavioral shifts in order to be perceived differently in the workplace. Some of the behavioral shifts included being overly polite or kind, being silent, being more apologetic, sympathetic, or just speaking differently in order to appear less threatening to their coworkers. Physical shifts included smiling more than usual in work settings, distancing themselves from others, adjusting their posture, or even one participant referred to changing their hairstyle in order to be more palatable to those who were threatened by her appearance. All of the African American participants also made references to several communication barriers imposed because of the color of their skin or perceptions of African American women. Many expressed that preconceptions, microaggressions, marginalization, discrimination, and lack of diversity enhanced the communication barriers, hindering them from being successful in their roles as leaders. Within our research, we were able to confirm that African American women actively adjust their behaviors, body language, and manner of speaking in order to appear less threatening in the workplace. While all of the women, both Black and white, alter their communication styles, white women primarily make these alterations due to sexism. Black women alter their communication styles both because of sexism and racism. This concept also relates to the analytical framework of intersectionality. This theory demonstrates how individuals' hierarchy or categorical classification overlaps and intersects to illustrate the inequalities or varying positionality of marginalized individuals. As white women don't have to consider adjusting their behaviors due to racism, but African American women do, this is a matter of privilege, which confirms that the theoretical concept operates with regard to this research question. We were also able to confirm that Black women adjust themselves both physically and behaviorally within the workplace in order to circumvent instances of microaggression, disrespect, and criticism at work. Future research should increase the sampling of women to address the biases in comparison to more ethnicities. Other limitations included strictly looking at communications leaders within the federal government. In conclusion, in relation to global strategic communications, it is important to increase our cultural competence in order to have successful communications both locally and internationally. The negative categorizations of African American women have proven to be both problematic and detrimental to their experiences, hindering their professional growth, mentorship and networking capability, and general comfortability within the workspace. By furthering research, we can clarify and eventually correct the erroneous stereotypes currently damaging the public perception of African American women, improving our ability to communicate and contributing positively to social and interpersonal interactions.